GeoGuessr is about to change forever. This is not clickbait. Let me tell you what's going down right now and what is going to hugely impact GeoGuessr as a game and as an esport in the next couple of years. So obviously Street View has been around for many years by now. 2007 is when it first launched in major US cities, and this is the current edition of the Google Street View camera. It's the one that's been around since 2019. As you can see, it's mounted on an official Google Street View car and requires quite a big rig to haul around actually. Now, while this one's been out since 2019, in 2022, Google announced the addition of the small cam. Now, this is a picture of it here from a 2022 CNN article, and Google basically made this video as a promotion for the upcoming camera. As you can see, the woman is picking up here, and it weighs only about 8 kilograms. So it's much more portable than the previous portable cameras, like the one you can see behind us here. That's the Gen 4 Trekker camera, which is basically a backpack. And so back in 2022, people began to get really excited about the camera and the possibilities it could bring, being very easy to mount to a top of an ordinary car, and being very lightweight and portable, thus easy to send between countries. In addition to that, it's a lot cheaper to produce as well. However, then it would be fair to say we entered the dark age of the small cam, because for the next 2 years almost exactly, there were very sparse spottings around the place here and there, but there was no published footage of this, and it didn't look like the small cam project was actually going to eventualize. However, in July of 2024, we got this image coming out of the United Kingdom showing a whole bunch of Google Street View cars mounted with the iconic small camera. As you can see, it's just a roof rack, and compared to the original image we looked at, the cam is definitely mounted a lot lower, but everyone was super excited to see that Europe was going to get the small camera. Then a few months later, Google dropped their huge update in Switzerland, and by looking in reflections, it was revealed that some of that coverage was done in the small camera. So why is the small camera such a big deal? Well, there are literally 50 plus countries in the world that would probably like to have Street View, but can't due to logistical reasons. I'm thinking all the Caribbean countries, all the Pacific Islands, all the overseas territories, which are really hard to get to. All of these are the intended target of small cam, and in the last few months we've seen the explosion of the use of small cam around the world, leading to huge optimism amongst the GeoGuessr community. So we all know that India was covered with this camera here, this black box of death. It was called the crap cam amongst the community. Very, very low quality images, unfortunately. And while it was fantastic to finally have India inside the game, we were also very disappointed that probably the coolest country in the world in terms of diversity and landscape was covered in this terrible camera. However, just a few days ago, and that's why I'm making this video, we saw the small cam being introduced into India, which is just such a big deal. All of a sudden, where you would never confuse India with a place in Europe before because of the camera quality, it will be a legitimate 50-50 if you're on a forested road or something like that. And the prospect of getting such a unique country in high quality camera is just amazing. Now, the small camera quality, at least at this stage, does appear to be slightly lower than Generation 4. However, it'll still be high quality than Generation 3, and definitely to the untrained eye will pretty much look the same in my opinion. And while they're driving a ton of small camera in Europe, almost none of it has been released apart from in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. However, they recently started driving in Puerto Rico, and for some reason have already released the footage. So this image was taken over 6 months ago. However, this image is less than a month old, leading many people to believe it was accidentally published. Regardless, Puerto Rico gets its first coverage in almost a decade, and it is looking fantastic. This is the small cam. This is what we're going to be getting in India. This is what we're potentially going to get in like 20 plus new countries around the world. I tell you guys, the possibilities for Caribbean, for Africa, and for the Pacific Islands are huge here, and it looks like they can become a reality very soon. When I started playing GeoGuessr in 2020-21, there was huge pessimism amongst the community. The Google Street View had pretty much stopped covering new countries. The most recent country was Dominican Republic. Pretty much no new countries were getting published at all in that time period. Now it's every couple of months we're getting a new surprise drop, and there are many countries on the list that are getting covered. And believe it or not, it's almost half a decade since most of the Hawaiian Islands received a coverage update, and sure enough, the small cam has also showed up in Hawaii, driving all the different islands there. It is so exciting, guys. Just makes me feel like we're on the cutting edge of a revolution for Google Street View. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The new coverage does have an extremely big blur because the camera is mounted lower, and you can even see a bit of car meta here. There is, you know, a little bit of rear view mirror action here. That is sad. Again, guys, it just goes to show why NMPZ is the king, because if you go like this, the camera and the quality looks completely normal, and you can't use any car meta. That's why NMPZ will always be my number one. If you don't like car meta, then you must like still image guessing the most, in my opinion. And yeah, it's also disappointing, as a side note, that they don't really value it in the World Cup format, but that is just my own hobby horse. All I want to be saying is that this is extremely exciting news. Prepare yourselves for a lot more update videos, I hope. Even if we don't get any of with these other places that we're talking about. India Generation 4 alone is one of the most exciting things I could have asked for. And the fact that we're going to see that very soon is just chef's kiss. Guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Let me know if I missed anything. Please, if you're an expert at this kind of thing, enlighten us in the comments and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date, because we still got to talk about Namibia when it drops. We're still waiting for Bosnia and updates in Serbia and Albania. We may be seeing Cyprus soon. We may be seeing Nepal soon. So stay up to date for all those updates. Guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.